Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell and welcome to the 12 Games of Christmas. Today we're talking about cooperative games, games in which you get along with everybody else. Before we get started today though, I want to thank our sponsors, Above Board TV. Who are they, you might wonder? Well, they're a YouTube channel that combines comedy and board games. Two things I like a lot. And so you go check them out. In fact, if you're looking for a specific way to check them out, there's a link in the description below that takes you to Extreme Gaming with Sharks. That's right, they went out and played underwater with sharks. I'll let you watch the video to see what's happening there. But you'll want to watch that video because if you comment on that video, you will be entered into a contest. There's a contest for two people, you and a friend, to fly to LA for 3 days and 2 nights to record with the Above Board TV group. Also, runners-up are going to get a game from our top 10 different Christmas lists that we're doing right now. So if you like the channel, check it out and subscribe, but just comment on that to enter into that contest. Hey folks, Cooperative, we're all trying to get along. That's right. That's what this list is about. I'm a big fan of this today. You might have someone in your group, or maybe you're buying this for a family where they just get too competitive. They flip the table in Monopoly. Well, this will help calm everything down. Here's 12 great cooperative games.
All right, let's kick off this cooperative games list with Disney animated. Now, this one is going to already have the advantage of if you have someone on your list who is a Disney fan, this will certainly be of interest to them, but it's also a really good cooperative game. This is one where you are actually playing as an animator at Disney Studios. Instead of playing as a Disney character, you are animating one of the classic films like 101 Dalmatians or Snow White. You're doing this by playing cards, trying to get backgrounds, paint backgrounds to these particular films. You're putting character cells, which are these see-through kind of cards that go on top of the background. It's a very satisfying experience if you like animation, if you like Disney, if you just like cooperative games. Disney animated is a great choice.
Forbidden Jungle is next up on our list. Now, this thematically is one where you are crash landed on a planet that's alien and there's all these bugs coming around. You watch them as they change from the egg to the larva to the adult bug that then's like spraying poison at you and trying to kill you. And what you're doing is you're trying to actually manipulate and rotate the tiles around. So we've seen lots of Forbidden games before. They all have that same cooperative element of revealing tiles, but this one you're actually manipulating them and switching them and rotating them around because you need to surround one of the portals with these cool crystal tiles so that you can escape. It's a lot of fun and it can make a great gift.
Here's a great game for people who like cooperative games, and that's Chronicles. Now, this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest game on this list. So this is not up everyone's alleys, but if you like a good rollicking adventure, Chronicles is amazing in that regard. I like this game. It has a unique, interesting fantasy theme, but it's basically a boss battler where you're going to fight bosses throughout this game that comes nicely organized in 15 chapters. You pull out the box, but there's like a trip to get there, adventures that happen. You go to town and get things. But then the combat itself is really simple, where you're pulling chips from a bag to see whose turn it is or to see how the enemy is going to respond to you. And then you're playing cards. And your teammates have cards that boost actions, but only boost someone else's action, which I think is fantastic. It really promotes teamwork, has great components. It's a great quality. You know, if you just want to play an adventure game that feels different than your run-of-the-mill, this one is a blast, and I really want to finish it to see where the story goes next. So that's Chronicles. Check it out.
Our next recommendation here is going to be the Lord of the Rings adventure book game. Now, this game, as it says here in its title, is a book that you're going to go through and play through different scenarios. I think part of the beauty of this cooperative game, though, is that there's 3 different IPs that you can choose from to really hone in on that person that you're buying this for, their specific taste. You have the Wizard of Oz, if they like some of the classics. You have the Princess Bride, if they're really kind of into those niche little cult classic movies. And then you have, of course, the big one, the Lord of the Rings one. I think that this is a really good cooperative experience that as you go through the different scenarios throughout the book, The base game mechanisms stay the same, but each scenario is a little bit different, keeping it fresh as you play through. So, our recommendation here, Lord of the Rings adventure book game.
Another great cooperative game is Mist over Carcassonne. This basically takes Carcassonne and makes it cooperative as you're fighting off these different ghosts. You're trying to place out the different tiles in certain ways to minimize ghosts and minimize all the different threats. It takes Carcassonne and really spins it on its head, basically allowing you to play the game cooperatively. And you can add this into your other Carcassonne sets as well, but it is a standalone game. And so it's a great game if you want to have a cooperative game, especially for someone that you know really enjoys Carcassonne already. So that is Mist over Carcassonne.
Next up, we are talking Marvel Zombicide. If you are a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the comic books, and you like the idea of you being the Marvel zombies and taking on the world, then this is a good one for you. If you've ever played a Zombicide game, you kind of have an idea of what you're getting into here, but this one flips the game on its head, making you the bad guys, making you the zombies, and you have to go around, keep your hunger at bay in order to accomplish whatever mission you are doing. Everyone is working together on the board. You are picking some of your very recognizable and possibly favorite superheroes and having a great time. Very simple, straightforward game that has a high replayability and a lot of fun dice chucking excitement. So Marvel Zombicide is one I would definitely recommend, again, for yourself if you like this setting, or you know someone who loves the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Marvel comic books, they're familiar maybe with Marvel Zombies, and they want to have a fantastic time working together on some missions in which they get to eat the brains for once.
A great cooperative game for two players explicitly is Sky Team. This is a game in which you, pilot and co-pilot, are trying to land an airplane, but you can't communicate about every single little thing that you're doing. You're placing dice out from behind a player screen. You roll them in secret. Your other player rolls them in secret, and you don't know what each other has, but based on what dice you're putting into different positions, trying to level out the plane, trying to make sure it's moving fast enough or slowing down, trying to get all the landing gears prepped and trying to clear the runway ahead of you, you put dice out and you hope that the player that you're playing with can recognize, okay, we're trying to accomplish this. Yes, there's a little bit of table talk allowed at the start of each round before you start putting out dice, but I think that the joy of the game comes from putting dice out and the other person going, oof, I think I know what they mean by this. And on top of that, there is a basic airport that you can play with, but there are over a dozen different airports that you can land in that change the timbre and the tone of the game a little bit and add in little extra mini modules. You can play it almost like a soft campaign, or you can just pick any single airport and play it for some extra challenges. There's so much fun to be had in Sky Team.
Our next recommendation is the Stranger Things game. This comes to you from Simon. It is such a thematic experience. This is definitely a cooperative game that you can feel the roots of the pandemic system kind of in it, but it's so fresh and does such a great job with the theme. If you have somebody that really followed season 1 and season 2 of the Stranger Things television series, then this is a great game for them. It still has that entry level of complexity, but just screams the theme. I think my favorite thing about this game is that they did split season 1 and season 2 separately. So there's two different sides of the boards. There's also two different decks that you're working through. You also have allies that you're going to be recruiting as you go, and these are going to be the characters you're familiar with in the game. You have Ms. Byers, you're going to have Bob in season 2, you're going to have Jonathan in both seasons, but they each have their own abilities depending on which side of the board you're going to play with. Also, season 1, you're fighting the Demogorgon. In season 2, you're fighting the Demo Dogs. So again, it's just such a great thematic experience. Still keeping it, I think, at that entry level ability, so you can really play it with anybody. And I think, again, if they like Stranger Things, this one's kind of a safe buy.
If you have a Star Wars fan this year that you are buying for, you may want to check out the Star Wars, the Clone Wars Pandemic game. So this is based on the pandemic system. They've made a few changes to the card play, which I really liked, but you're going around hopping from planet to planet, taking out droids so they don't take over these planets, and you're trying to fight various and sundry different bad guys. So it's fun because there's a lot of different villains that you can fight, as well as, just being in that Star Wars universe, being these Jedi heroes trying to save the day.
Our next game is Tales from the Red Dragon Inn. Now this takes place in the Red Dragon Inn universe and is a dungeon crawler with a light legacy aspect to it. You play as adventurers. You start in the Red Dragon Inn, something crazy happens, and you journey under the Red Dragon Inn to try and discover what is happening and uncover a nefarious plot. My son and I have played hours of this game, and it can be so much fun. It's got card play, it's got tactical movement, it's a lot of fun. Tales from the Red Dragon Inn.
The next game in our co-op list is Unmatched. Wait, what? Unmatched and co-op? That's right, this is Unmatched Tales to Amaze. Tales to Amaze is one of the highest rated games ever here at the Dice Tower. And the whole thing is you can take all those unmatched characters and you can bring them from fighting each other, bring them into some big cooperative game where you try to take down the Martian invader. And then you also have villains out there like Skunk Ape, Jersey Devil. You've also got the Mothman you can take off. And the whole thing is you are bringing all of this, which is great. It's like you fighting each other has been training you for this moment where you're going to save the world, and the alien comes down and you decide that you're going to put out Spider-Man, and then over here you've got the Raptors, and they're on your side, and you go at it. And the great thing about this is it is like an old vintage sci-fi movie. And even from the font, everything that happens in it, this game, I just can't stress how fun this game is, because it's one of those that I find myself wanting to go back because it has unlimited replayability, and it takes all those things that you bought and you can now bring them in here and have a completely unique experience. And if you haven't bought any, there's some in there that are fantastic, and you can go to the backlog and buy those or buy some coming out. So this right here is quickly one of my favorite co-op games, and that's why that is my recommendation.
And lastly, we are taking a look at the Art Project. In this one, you represent a clandestine group of people who are traveling the world trying to rescue art that has been acquired by nefarious means and returning that art to its rightful place. You pick a map, and the game comes with quite a bit of replayability because there's 6 of these maps. That is going to be your setting, which might modify the gameplay. And then you go through various turns, very simple turns with card play, some rolling of dice in order to combat your nemesis in the game, and then trying to rescue this artwork. The closer you get to rescuing all the artwork, the harder things become, the more challenging your combats become, and you even have to be careful that some of the locations aren't overrun, or you will no longer be able to traverse those locations. Work together with the other players, come up with a plan, split up as need be, and try to rescue all of the artwork. So that is the Art Project.
Thanks for watching another video in our series of the 12 Games of Christmas. A couple things before we go out. First of all, we've mentioned lots of different things that you can get here, and there's board games and all sorts of stuff, and we checked to make sure that these were available online. So we checked at the different online game stores like Game Nerds, we checked the publisher sites themselves, and we checked Amazon. And in fact, if they're available on Amazon, we have those links in the description. You just go right there and buy them. And if you do that, anything, when you buy there, or if you buy other stuff too, that helps us here at the Dice Tower. So keep that in mind. Also, don't forget our sponsor, Above Board TV. Go check out their channel. Go enter the contest by commenting on that video we mentioned. And as a side note, this contest is available only to those in the US now for different reasons. But even if you're from all over the world, you can at least go check out their content and laugh as they play board games in fun and weird ways. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for watching these. I hope these lists are a help to you. Check out the other 9 videos. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and this is the 12 Games of Christmas of 2023 on the Dice Tower.